There's patches of clouds there's patches of weather in the area, but I don't. It depends on which way they head, which way they float and head towards. Definitely a area of uh, clouds south of the city right now. So there could be some light rain. Let me just see what the live timing says. And we're only a few seconds off before they get onto track. To see, Nico Hulkenberg has a special helmet design for this race for his 200th GP. So specifically, the issue with Pocher was that it was a drive-by. So they basically use what's called a drive-by wire system in the car. It's a electrical system, and that failed, and that was part of the issue. Sainz had a hydraulic issue. Alonso was briefly silent, but it's not saying why, and they're now coming out on track. Lando had a problem with his revs, and Charles wasn't happy with the sound of his engine at times. So we had issues with cars in FP1. And we are green light and cars on track. And I don't see the map updating at the moment. Give that moment to catch up with data. There we go. Just needs another moment or so, and I'll be up to speed. Aussie taking over the F1 track in FP1. 3 Aussies on the same track since the 70s. That is true. We had Oscar, we had Daniel, and one of the rookie drivers is an Aussie as well. Martella, are you the only Williams fan here? You might not be. There should be a couple other people who are Williams fans, particularly Alex Albon fans. Cranky pointing out. So again, last week's race, both Lewis Hamilton, Charles Leclerc were both qualified due to basically the bottom floorboard plank got weird out more than it should have been, and the cars were disqualified. And because those two cars were disqualified, Albon went from P11 to P8. P11 to P9, and Sargent went from P12 to P10. Therefore earning his first point in F1. So he's gotten that out of the way. Once again, we've got a prototype tire. So it looked like Russell, Stroll, Alonso, Tsunoda, Zhou, Magnussen, Ocon, Sainz, Sargent, Perez, Leclerc, Norris, and Hulkenberg are all on that prototype tire. Honestly, yes. I think the question is: do you think that more than 4 cars should be picked for such checks? And the issue is that yes, there probably should be more cars be picked for that post race scrutineering. But there's a time and manpower issue involved with that, and the FIA and the race stewards they just don't have the manpower to check every single car. So that's how we got to the system where we're at right now, is that they pick random cars to do. Ricardo's on top on the board right now with a 120.568. So Honey Badger fans, rejoice while you can. Russell is second, Stroll is third, Bottas is third, Gasly's fifth. So these are our first full laps. We've got still laps coming from Alonso, Tsunoda, Magnussen, and Ocon at the moment. Stroll slotting in fourth. He was fastest, I think, second sector. Fastest third sector goes to Ricardo right now, and Leclerc is the fastest sector. Perez taking fastest second sector right now. So we're getting a good set of times set on the boards. Right now, Verstappen's the only one who's not out on. No, he's now on the out lap now. It was just Albon and Verstappen who were still in the pits. They are now on their out laps. Perez is going to slot in second with a fastest third sector with a 120.785. Leclerc had the fastest first and second sector until Norris took the second sector. Perez, again, has the third. We'll see where Leclerc comes in. He's going to slide in P1 with 120.3943. And then we'll see where Norris and Hulkenberg, they're the next two to go across the line. Norris is going to take P1 with 120.1. And then finally, where does Hulkenberg jump in? Hulkenberg's P14. So we've got Tsunoda, Ocon, Hamilton, I think, on their first laps at the moment. I think Albon is in that list. Max has not started his flying lap yet, though. Yeah, should I have tested Russell and Sainz? They probably should have. But again, the system is they're only checking 4 cars, like those 4 cars. So after our first 5 minutes into the session, our first laps around, we've got Norris, Leclerc, Ricciardo in our top 3. Notably that Ricciardo did his on a hard tire, and Norris, Leclerc on the prototype tire. Bottas and Hamilton are on mediums. Gasly is the only one on the hard tire. Sorry, him and Oscar are the only ones who are else on those hard tires. Sargent's just come back to the pits. And he's right now P5 with a 120. Albon has just done his first sector. He's done a flying first sector. In fact, he's actually faster than Verstappen by 2 100ths, essentially. What tires is he? They are a prototype tire. They're supposed to be equivalent to a medium tire. I don't know what's different about them, though. It's just that they are a prototype tire that Pirelli is testing. Albon has finished his second sector, improved on his time. He's now in his third sector right now. Hamilton on his flying lap. And Albon's going to slot in P2, 120.358. So 1.5 slower than Norris. Verstappen, fastest second sector. He's in his third sector right now. We'll see how when he comes to the line. And Max has gone top of the board with a 120.085. So 0.02 faster than, about 0.02 faster than Norris. Very, very small margins. Very small margins at the top of the board. Hamilton, I believe, is now starting to fly. It looks like he's done 2 laps around to warm up his tires. So he's now doing a flying lap now. Other movers on the board, Albon, again, is in third right now with a 120.3. Sainz and Zhou, P6, P7, both in 120s, within a tenth of each other. Ocon, Stroll, 121s, both within a tenth of each other. Ocon 0.19 and Stroll 0.084. Bottas, Russell, Magnussen, 121s, within a second of each other. Hamilton improving his times. He's done a 128.5. He's about a few tenths off of what Norris has done. He's coming to the end of his lap at this point right now. And Hamilton's going to jump up to P12, which is going to be a 121.277, and that was done on a medium tire. Oh yeah, we've got some drizzle right now. I wouldn't say a hard rain; it's more of a drizzle by pit lane at the moment. So this is, it's not enough to put on any, like, it's not across the entire track, it looks like at the moment. So we got more speeding more than ultimately than an actual strong downpour. Track temperature right now is 39 degrees Celsius, so that will be help keeping the track dry. Again, the prototype tire is basically it's not an intermediate. It is it's a slick. It's equivalent to the C4, which is our medium tire this weekend. And it's an unmarked tire opposed to the yellow medium tire that is marked. How is Ricardo quicker than Oscar than on the same tire? I'm not sure. Better lab, obviously. My one is pointing out that light rain on is most dangerous on the public roadways, but this is not a public roadway though. On public roadways, that will leach out oils that are in the ground, they're in the tarmac or concrete. And Orlando, he's staying in the lines, but it is. Oh, he went over the curbs. That's what's going on. He went over the curbs and got a little bit of um, slid a little bit with the car. Stayed within the lines, but still he hit that curb and it bounced him in a weird way. Yeah, I mean, again, Hulkenberg Sonoda magazine. Though Alonso was out there on test tires, Sargent's still out there on test tire. Perez is still. I so it's one of those again. Yes, they are on test tires. Um, why is Bottas? He may be doing mediums first and then a test tire later on. We don't know. It depends on what he's doing for a program at the moment. Stroll and Ricardo have come back into the pits. Stroll and Russell has come back into the pits as well. Frankie's pointing out Mexico City is in the northern hemisphere, so it's technically in the autumn. Same thing as Austin, but it's much further south. So as you go further south towards the equator, it's going to get more hotter. Essentially, it's warmer. It's just warmer in that section of the globe. It's going to be even more so. Like as warm as it is, it's going to be more warmer and more tropical. Like where Mexico City is tropical, subtropical, we will be in the tropical range for Brazil next week. Donkey is complaining about how many employees on a team, but can't get thickness of play. Issue, Don, is that plate went on probably before FP1, and after FP1, it was probably checked after FP1. But the issue is then it was then run to two different qualification sessions, then a sprint race, and then a race itself. And if they needed to replace that board, the car would have been broke. They would have broke Parc Ferme to replace that board. And again, we're calling it a board. It is it's a fiberglass, like clear. It's called clear glass essentially. It's a fiberglass. Uh, so moving on. Being through here right now. So right now, in the past moment, Albon has taken the top spot with a 120.75. See anyone else who's jumped? Russell has moved to 120 with a 120.5. We've got 15 minutes left in this session right now, and which of the Stroll's car that they're looking at? They're looking at the underside of the floor right now. Someone was underneath the floor. Max has just done a new flying lap. He's done a fastest sector 2, sector 3 with a 119.5. Ricardo is a new P2 time, fastest sector 3 with 119.7. Leclerc has a fastest sector 1 is flying lap time. Sainz slotting in P3 with a 119.832. I'm looking through chat for your questions right now. If you've got any questions about what's going on, please throw them into chat. One of the lap record here is set by Bottas, which was in 2021, and that was, let me see, lap record was 117.774. Where's the speeds? There we go. The speed was it was set in the race speed in 2016, set the fastest speed trap record, which is 23.1.46 miles per hour. His maximum speed hit 231.96 miles per hour. And we've got a replay of Alonso taking a curve rather briskly and locking up. I think there's now a replay of no, it's Russell. Bionic One is asking if basically if Red Bull has run the prototype floors yet. I don't know what you're talking about in terms of a prototype floor. We are dealing with prototype tires during this weekend, so that is something to be aware about. Yeah, but I haven't heard anything in terms of like the live timing or anything in that regarding that floor. Hamilton is saying has said that it's a struggle out there. There's no grip over his radio, and again, there's couple reasons why that's happening. One, basically, the track is relatively still green, and F1 is the only racing league to be here this weekend. We are also higher in elevation, and so there's like 20% less air pressure. So that means the downforce is going to be much less. Is one of the consequences of that as well. So it's a lower drag scenario. So you will see cars skid a little bit more than they would so like say like even last week at COTA. Yuki took one of the facts that they're bringing up about Yuki Tsunoda right now is that in last week's race at the U.S. Grand Prix, he managed to pit and take fastest lap, and that would be the first time in his career where he's taken fastest lap in a race. So an additional point for his team that is definitely needed, and then another upgrade. Again, 2 places upgrade via qualifications. What is Perez at? I don't know why Perez would be at 16 at this point. I mean, he's on a prototype tire. He has pitted, so other people have done laps after him. The next question is Hamilton. He's pitted. He's on a medium. It may be that he is doing race runs and not necessarily a qualification run. They're doing some sort of tinkering on his car for setup purposes. 20 minutes passed already in this session already. Again, this is the Racing Statistics YouTube channel, and this is Crash live with you with commentary. There's about 2,000 of you watching right now, 225 likes. Lucky Goatee isn't here. It'd be all perfect. No, man. If Goatee was here, we'd have a red flag. A poll for FP2. That's a good question. Peter, do you have a suggestion for a poll? What you're curious about? Right now, Oscar is on a flying lap. He's now currently P18. So this is what lap is he on? He's on a soft tire. Okay, so that explains why he's going to jump to P1 to the 119.163 on a soft tire. So he's about 3.5 tenths faster than Max. I'm sorry, 0.35 faster than Max on us, but he's on a soft tire. Max did his medium tire. Yeah, but that time though that Carter said he's been in the pits for a while now. He's a half second behind Oscar now, but ultimately, I mean, he's been in the pits, so there are other people who've been out on track. And the other thing that's going on, we're starting to see drivers out on track putting laps on tires for data purposes. So Sainz is the only other driver who's improved in that time with a 119.748, and he's on a medium tire. Valtteri is let me see, he's the only one right now listed as being on that prototype tire. He just came to the pits, but he had done 6 laps on that tire. Albin on a flying lap now, starting with a new flying fastest first sector. He is on a soft tire though, and I think read that correctly. These are fresh soft tires. Alonso on fresh soft tires as well. Perez Sargent also on fresh soft tires as well. The only other people on track are Tsunoda and Stroll Nave. Stroll has done 5 laps and Yuki's done 8 laps so far. Albon has improved in his second sector. Sargent has improved in his times, though, and Albon's going to go to P2 with a 119.4. Sargent has improved in his times, but he is going to go to P8, 119.9. So about half a second slower than his teammate. And given where Sargent is, that's actually a pretty good place. Perez fastest first sector, hasn't finished the second sector yet, but he's looking good. He's improved in the subsectors. And which car is that? That's one of the Aston Martins, and it's Alonso. Alonso just spun out. Oh wow, you can see that he's flattened part of his tires. Yeah, I think Checo possibly had to check. It depends on where Checo was related to. Here's Albon. Where? So here we go. Yeah, Alonso. Oh, he does a 360. He manages to get off, not hit a wall. But yeah, no, it looks like he hit one of those curves and it bounced the car just enough, and he lost control and went 360. Have F1 getting a picture of which William was that, but he managed to hit one of the cones and went flying. This is got Max on screen right now doing. Is he doing a flying lap? Yes, he is, and he's gone the fastest in first sector. Mexican free practice will keep being boring. I mean, not much is. I mean, we've had a spin, but not like anything. I mean, like just my luck that Alonso spins, does a 360, it doesn't crash and hit a wall. It's just that my luck right now. We've got Norris doing a P2 with 118.805. Hamilton has gone P3, 119.024, and Ocon 119.077. And then Tsunoda has done 1 to P15, 120.5. Of note right now, Hulkenberg is a P18, but he's got fastest first sector, proved in the second sector. Hamilton has a fastest third sector. Hulkenberg now coming to the end of his lap at the moment. Hulkenberg is on slot in P7 with 119.535. So 0.9 slower than Verstappen's lap. Of note, one of the trivia facts at F1 TV is showing that Nico Hulkenberg is the 22nd driver to reach 200 Grand Prix starts this weekend. Yeah, Hulkenberg is definitely surprising. He's definitely improved. The car they're getting a better handle on what the car is doing, and this track is definitely suited to their strengths. So they're doing well here in practice. Will this translate to quali is the big question. Ricardo has just jumped to P3 with 119.092. I think Russell was another one who slotted up to seventh. Hulkenberg now ninth after Ricardo bumped up. See, Gasly's 11th at 119.64. Sainz is on a flying lap right now. He's improved in his first sector. He's about a tenth off of what Ricardo did. So 28.3. Actually, Ricardo did a 28.1. So I'm trying to see who else. Like Oscar did a 28.57. So he's in that range with Oscar. Sainz did improve his second sector. Perez has just jumped up to P2 with 119.988. Sainz basically on par with Perez. He's going to jump into ninth with a 119.257. He was on par in sector one, but it was 0.3 off in sector two. And then in sector three, they were about within a tenth of each other, which is about a quarter of a second ultimately. So he lost time in that second sector. Tsunoda looks like he's about to finish a flying lap right now. The Aston Martins are in garage. What else is going on? 28 and a half minutes left to go in this session. Again, this is the Racing Sixes YouTube channel. This is Crash with you doing commentary. And this is free practice 2 for the Mexican Grand Prix. Not a lot has happened. We've had Verstappen, we've had Albon up at the top. Norris is P2, Perez is P3. Ricardo right now is P4. And pretty much everyone is on soft tires except for Leclerc and Bottas and Magnussen. Zoe's on a prototype tire, and then we've got several people in pits. We've seen Alonso do a 360 and manage to recover the car without crashing it. He was on soft tires when he did that. He definitely flatted those tires, so they're pretty much used and done. Frankie, I think Tsunoda pulled off his fastest lap in Austin is when he did that. He did get the point for fastest lap. Lewis Parker noting that Norris is 1/10 behind, even while being on possibly more fuel than Max. And I'm curious why you think that might be the case. He's got more fuel. I'm not challenging it. I'm just curious why you might think he's got more fuel. Charles Leclerc has just jumped to P3 with a 118.952. Bottas had been third. He's now P4 with 118.955. So we're talking about a difference of 0.003 between the two. Yeah, these gaps between these drivers are getting crazy, and they're pulling really close together. So like tiny, minuscule mistakes or less optimal moves are going to cost you like places, like 3, 4, 5 places in some cases. So Lewis thinks that Norris has done multiple laps on those soft, and I suggested you think Max has only did one flying lap on softs. And Max is back into the pits. What are they tinkering with? They are putting another set of tires on. Yeah, Camillin right now saying that peeps are on race runs right now, and that's pretty much to be expected at this point with pre-practice too. Cabin Bear is asking if McLaren's being investigated yet. For what though? What, going fast on softs? So this is one of the things right now. What is Oscar doing? Did he stop? I think he's in the. I think he's just stopped for a free start from the pit lane. Let's see. Yep, there it is, and that's a. Just took a start off from the pit lane. Yeah, this is a long FP2. There's not much really happening. Alonso's back on track on medium tires now. Not seeing anyone improving on their times. Hulkenberg had a sector that where he improved, but he's back in the pits. Alonso's second and a half off, so he must be loaded with fuel. That must be a race run because he's nowhere near close to a quali run. Vanna Carrillo is asking, how did Daniel do it? Well, Daniel probably was not on, didn't have a full load of fuel in the car. It was probably a lighter load, and he was on a prototype tire and a soft tire when he did his laps. Bottas is actually improving right now, so he's someone on a more of a flying run right now. Pink Grace asking who's commentating for the race. That's usually Ryan. He's good. He's our main commentary for the race, and he will be doing that. He'll be doing qualification tomorrow and the race on Sunday. Frankie bringing up a very good comment about drivers would like sprint race weekend as long as they didn't have park permit conditions after the first quali. Yeah, I think that is one of the big issues with the sprint format that is we've saw. Ultimately, basically, oh, the Streamlabs, you have last week's information. Obviously, this is not a sprint weekend. I'm doing practice, and then Ryan will be doing the qualification tomorrow and the race itself. And Valtteri locking up one of his brakes as he go around the curves, losing some time. Sodar has gone P12 with 119.290. Zhou has improved in his first sector times, 28.149 in that sector. And that's close to what about 2/10 off of what Leclerc did in his best sector, sector one time, I should say. And Zhou max out on a medium tire, though slower in the first sector so far. And I believe he's going to be slower in the second sector as well, if I'm reading it. He's coming to the end of his second sector right now on stream, and he's 3.6 seconds off his best laps already. So he must be loaded with fuel and on a race pace setup at this moment. Again, it's been a while since anyone has improved in any of their times any significantly. So this is a great time for you to throw out questions at me to talk on stream. Can Mercedes push through top three pace here? They should, but it looks like they're having issues. I mean, Russell's only is P10. Hamilton right now, where is Hamilton? Is P7. There may be things that they may need to do to improve their car to get a better race pace, and that's the big thing right now. I mean, like Norris is doing better than them, Bottas is doing better than them, Perez is doing better than Ricardo's doing better than Hamilton. So there's this weird, again, Ricardo doing better than Mercedes is very weird to see at this moment. No, don't get me wrong. The AT, the AT has improved the car. Like part of the issue, the improvements with the AT is they're now using more Red Bull parts, and it's the same arrangement in terms of like Ferrari giving their selling parts to Haas. That's the mechanic of how AlphaTauri is getting the Red Bull parts essentially. And I know it is, again, it's 5:41 p.m. here in Central Time USA. I know it is like 10, 11, almost 11 later in the UK and later across the UK. So those of you who are here, thank you for being here in those times. Now you know what it's usually like for me as an American fan. Alex is asking, are Aston still turning their new upgrade package? It looks like it failed again. I don't think it failed. I wouldn't say it's failed. I think they are definitely they're tweaking around. Um, Perez on a hard tire just did like a 122, which is like 4 seconds off the pace. But that's definitely like more of a race pace than quality pace. Here's Alonso. He's already not. You see, he's coming to the end of his second sector. One, two, three, four. 4.5 seconds after. So Alonso's 4.5 seconds after the fastest time. And we're gonna right now we're in this weird. Not much is really happening. People are going around track, but they're not going fast. They're not going for the top of the board right now. And again, this is a scenario essentially where they're gathering gather for different scenarios. Who is this talking? This is Crash. I am your commentator for practice. I'm your regular. Excuse me. I'm your regular practice commentator. This is again my first. I'm celebrating my first year with the channel. I started actually last year with the Mexico Grand Prix. There is clouds in the area. They are south and east of the track right now. Yeah, right now we've got about 106,000 subscribers right now. Thank you, all of you. We've got many more of you who have joined what I've called now the family. These are the people who are green names in chat. So there's on radio. There's Russell asked about rain, and engineers saying about 5-10 minutes. So in the last 10 minutes of this session, we may get some chaos. Maybe. We'll see. Yeah, and that's a good point. Let's go look at tires right now. Come on, better. There we go. No, it's not just sweat. He was asking about rain. He didn't say it was raining. So I'm waiting for the our timing screen to flip back over to tires again, because that's I think that might describe what is going on right now better than anything else. Jump live. There are about 15 minutes left, 14 and a half minutes, I should say, now left in this session. Again, this is the Race 62 channel. This is Grash doing your commentary again. We are doing the Mexican Grand Prix Free Practice 2. And besides Alonso doing a 360, not much has really happened. I mean, we've got Verstappen on top, Norris. We have Ricardo. The oddsies is Ricardo's up in P6. Sonoda's P12. See, Stroll has come back from the pits. Wondering if they're what they're tinkering with. I know fastest on track for the moment. Which you prefer, rain or sprints? Making a race weekend more interesting. Rain makes it more interesting because it adds more unpredictability. Don't get me wrong, when you mix both of them together, it's total chaos. And I've had weekends where I've been commentating where rain came in Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday it was dry. So it was just total chaos. Rain is more a chaos factor, and I enjoy the chaos. To be quite honest, at times, it's why I probably love IndyCar way too much. So yeah, right now on track, basically like Max has done 10 laps on his current tires, Leclerc 11, Bottas 8, Ricardo has done 10, Oscar 17, Hulkenberg 10, Sargent 11, Magnussen 10 on soft tires. I think the sprint. A lot of people don't like sprints just because they don't like it in principle. Um, Lewis Park, imagine an F1 race in snow. No, there snow would not be possible with an F1 race. The tires wouldn't be honestly they wouldn't be hot enough to properly even the wet tires wouldn't would be too dangerous. Um, and that's one of the issues with that's one of the questions about the Vegas race because they're going to do it at night. And it's going to be in middle of November, like a week before, American Thanks, about a week or so before American Thanksgiving Day. Um, it's we're getting into cold temperatures. I know I gotta do the. Let me see. So, 45 looks like. Yeah, like we're talking about temperatures that could be below 10 degrees Celsius in Vegas is one of the things I've heard. Now that's air temperature. So ultimately, there could be some. It could get very interesting with Vegas very quickly. That's a good question. Someone's asking, what is the strange structure in the top right corner inside the circuit? And I do not know what that is. It's got a very pointed shape to it. Let's look that up. What is that on maps? So, okay, got a better explanation of what that is. Um, so that section around, let me look at the turns one more time. Round turns, like turn one, turn. It's listed as turn one, turn two, but I don't think that's correct. But it's called the Estadio Alfredo Harp. It's a stadium section, and it's part of the facilities. So basically, it's a grandstand area. It just has a very odd look on our map. It was asking how high is the track. I believe the track I gave it was 7,200 feet above sea level, and that gives us about a 20% reduction in air pressure. And so why Red Bull's always been good here is because they got the Honda supercharger, and the supercharger they turn that up. They've always been able to turn that, increase the power of the supercharger to push more air into the engine. So they've always been good here in in that regards. The other issue is I would expect there would be less downforce with these cars because there's less air pushing underneath the car essentially. So we've got about 7 minutes left in this session right now. Supercharger, it's a part of a car. Basically, it's basically pushing basically air and fuel. It's basically pushing air and fuel into the engine to the basically the piston chamber of the engine to get a better pressure in there, to get a better when the fuel lights with the oxygen, we get a better press off on the piston for power essentially. Yeah, for those of you guys in Europe, I don't blame you for like collapsing when this is about to end. It's about midnight for several of you. And John, I probably do mean super turbochargers. 5 minutes. No, 6 minutes to go. We got 5 minutes 50 seconds left in this session. And what do they look underneath the car again? Is it Albin or Sargent's? Again, they've been checking the floors a lot lately. So I am human. I can make mistakes, Yuki. So moving on. at this point right now, again, everyone who's out on track, I mean, they've been on the current tires for a while. Red Bull's in the garage, Williams in the garage, Aston Martin's in the garage 5 minutes ago in this session. I think we will see basically people are doing more of their program. We will most likely see Max and Checo and the others who are in the garage for the most part. They will come out in like the next 2-3 minutes. They will go around the track for the sake of going around the track, and then so they can do a practice start on the start finish line. CT, I'm not really sure what you're trying to say. You said you don't know how Max somehow reaches FP1 at one point nearly in every race. Did you mean FP1 instead of free practice one? Camille, where are you? That's a good question because the Vegas race should be starting the same time that ultimately so it's the same physical time that the Australian Grand Prix starts. When you do the translation, it's going to start on a Saturday, essentially essentially a Saturday night local time for Vegas. So 3 a.m. is East, yeah, it'd be 3 a.m. Eastern time, 2 a.m. Central for me. I mean, no, it would be 3 a.m. No, it's 10 a.m. local. It's going to be 1 a.m. for Eastern time. It's going to be night for Central. And 2 minutes ago in this session, again, Ricardo, Oscar now doing. Several people have gone into this, so it looks like Alonso's definitely not. They're going to pull him out. He's in the garage. I'm looking. He's in the car. Cannot pronounce the person's name because you're not using him. You're using a different alphabet. But you're suggesting that soft to medium might be the best strategy. That would be nice to see because we haven't seen soft to mediums at a strategy at any of the previous races in quite a while. One minute to go in this session at this point. So there's really not much. Oscar is on soft tires. It looks like he's pushing. He didn't improve in the sector one time. No, he's 2.5 seconds off from sector after 2 sectors. He's not fully pushing. This is more of a race simulation than anything else. And there is a big drop of water on the F1 TV screen. As I predicted, Max and now Checo are coming out of the. Everyone is as they can are coming out to do a basically a outlap to be on track so they can do a uh, a start from the race line, practice start. Yeah, well, I think Daniel Ricciardo. It's not that he was on the hard tires. That was his last tire that he used. I think he set that on a prototype C4 tires, so equivalent to a medium tire. So time has expired. Not much is happening at this point. We've got someone waving. I don't know who this is, but they're waving the checkered flag to end the session. For those of you who are in the UK and further into time in the next day, go to sleep. Have a good night. Go to sleep. We will see you tomorrow. You sound exactly like Zach Brown. I've been told that by a couple. You're not the first person to say that about me, so thank you. Um, Again, this has been our coverage, the Racing City channel coverage of the Free Practice 2. Not much really happened. We got a lot of data mining on the teams going on. We had a few prototype dates. They all ended up on softs, except for Aston Martin, who are on mediums. For those of you, it's already Saturday. I will have a good night. See you tomorrow. I will be back tomorrow for Free Practice 3 in the afternoon for me. And then we will have the qualification session. Ryan will be back for that. And then on Sunday will be the race itself, and Ryan will be commentating the race that as well. I will see you all tomorrow. Have a good night. Again, those who've been with me through this past year commentary, thank you. For those who've been here with me longer as a mod in chat, thank you as well. Here's to another year of F1. All right, have a good night, everyone. See you tomorrow, and be safe and have something good to eat.